Hey folks, we are glad you could join us for yet another conversation on Business Redefined. We've had a lot of discussion this year about tech and especially artificial intelligence and how that is changing the landscape as far as both public and private sector is concerned. Now, Samsung had a huge launch last week on the subject of the digital classroom and how we are building the human capital around the emerging trends in technology, drilling down to the subject of artificial intelligence. And now we are privileged to be joined by Anthony Njehia, head of B2B at Samsung Electronics. Anthony, karibu sana.
Thank you very much, Julian.
Anthony, let's go back to last week. I was a bit confused. Many of us know Samsung as a consumer electronics firm. Here you are zeroing in on the digital classroom and by extension education. What has changed?
Okay, so I know predominantly that Samsung has been known as a consumer electronics business, basically on the B2C side. But over the years that has changed. It has become imperative that we also need to provide enterprise solutions geared towards having better outcomes in terms of productivity, employee productivity, as well as looking at last week's event, looking at having better learners who are well skilled for the labor market. So at Samsung, we currently have what we call the digital classroom, where we have the infrastructure layer, the hardware layer, that is the smart boards and also the tablets. Over and above, which is most interesting, is Samsung Knox, which is a solution designed to support the teachers and institutions to manage the classroom. So we are able to actually block some apps that are not needed. We are able to actually block harmful URLs so that students are not distracted. We can also disable some certain functionalities, including gaming. So this way we actually promote safe learning environments where the teacher is not worried that the students are not actually attentive in class. I think this is very, very important. The other area that we are also very keen is where we provide Galaxy AI assistants to actually do quizzes, to create some, AI assessments, which is quite powerful in this day and age.
I see. I'd imagine for you to execute something like a digital classroom, you really need a whole ecosystem of partners, whether it is the telcos, whether it is government as well. How does that ecosystem look like?
Thank you for that question. Actually, I don't think there's any one entity that will actually be able to give a fully fledged and end-to-end solution around digital classroom without actually working with other partners. For Samsung, we come in as an anchor partner where we provide the technology stack, including the software. And then we have other partners as well who come in to provide edtech solutions. For example, digital learning solutions, where it could be the e-books, digital books, as well as partners who are providing language. Language is becoming a very big thing right now in regards to labor mobility. We are seeing students being employed even before they are graduated. They have actually signed contracts. So if we're able to actually have this ecosystem, including connectivity partners, then we're able actually to give a total end-to-end solution, because in isolation, you cannot give a solution that can actually be of value to the learners and also to the institutions. We are looking at a situation where the institutions will become recruitment centers for employers, both within and out. So we are looking at a situation where we are able actually to provide an end-to-end solution where all these partners have a shared vision. We have a shared objective to actually promote digital learning, and we need these tools. We need connectivity. The tablets, the boards will not work in isolation. So they need to be embedded with the learning content, which is actually KICD approved. They need to be embedded with the language. Right? So we are looking at a situation where the ecosystem functions in a way that the education sector is able to provide value to their learners and also ensure that they have the right skills for their careers.
Anthony, listening to you, many will have the feeling that this feels like a privileged school affair, the digital classroom. because of the cost involved, the infrastructure involved. How do we do this at scale? The bulk of our schools are public institutions.
Okay, that's a good question. So, first and foremost, I will look at it in two ways. We know the government is a regulator here, and they're the policymakers. I believe there is opportunity to both the private and public. The way we've designed our ecosystem, we've actually designed it to be actually scalable and in an affordable way. What we're advocating is digitizing a classroom at a time, okay? And this can be also shared infrastructure among the students and even among the teachers. The other thing that we're also looking at, remember, if I get a digital book, it's probably at a fractional cost of a physical book. So there's also the element of administrative costs actually going down. So I think government should also try as much as possible to bridge that gap and to bridge the digital divide and ensure that the schools that are in the rural areas especially are able to actually have access to digital learning by way of providing the necessary infrastructure, by way of actually getting into PPPs with the private sector players to ensure that we have the right infrastructure, build digital hubs, and in some cases look at areas where the power grid is not there. Because once we're able to do this, then I believe we're able to actually give our children a better chance to face the future.
Anthony, if you walk around many schools, you will realize a number of them got access to the digital infrastructure, and that was basically it. How does your post-setup support look like? And I'm asking that because you will go there and see their tablets gathering dust, their laptops which are hardly ever serviced, and they're no longer now functional to the need they were meant to serve at the very beginning.
Thank you for that question. So I agree with you, and I think I've worked in various schools and I've seen that happen. It is quite unfortunate. However, we have a robust network of authorized service centers where we can actually be able to help in any repair work. Over and above, what the partners have actually done is to acquire additional devices to ensure that there's uninterrupted learning. So the learner and the institution will not actually have a situation where they're thinking that the learning will stop. So learning will still continue. But again, there's also the element of the quality of the tablet. If you look at Samsung Knox for schools, when I'm able to block harmful URLs, when I'm able to lock out apps which are not required, and the tablet is able to operate on kiosk mode or multi-app mode, what am I doing? I'm basically assisting the school to ensure that that tablet, the quality of that tablet still stays. The shelf life is longer because some of these sites you walk in actually damage the devices. So the solution helps us ensure that there is security and governance around that. But again, we have the centers, as I mentioned, where we're able to actually ensure that after-sales support is given to the schools. And these are spread across Kenya and within East Africa.
Anthony, as a parent, I'll tell you, many of us are worried about screen time. So when you talk about the digital classroom and the possibility that my child could be interfacing with the screen more often than not, how do you strike a balance in this execution? And how do I ensure, if I am not present, that I can actually program this infrastructure in such a manner that beyond this time, it's out?
So our Knox suite of solutions. So we have various products within the solution. And one of them is a mobile device management solution, what we call Knox Manage. Of course, we have others like Knox Authentication Manager. So I'll not go into the technology bit of it. So the solution basically allows you to actually shut the device remotely. So the IT admin support will be able to actually set the time. So for example, your child needs to do an assignment between 6 when they get home up to 8 or 9. So that is the window they are given. After that, we have some IT policies we can put in the school that can have so that they allow the students to use the tablet within that time to regulate screen time. So when it reaches 9 o'clock, the tablet shuts.
I see. That's very interesting. And also, the reality is that in our schools, we have the students who are differently abled. It could be visually, it could be auditory, and in many other forms. Does the digital classroom factor into consideration these sort of realities that we deal with?
Yes, we have definitely some AI tools that can assist. If you are visually impaired, you can actually be able to actually communicate with the devices. In our case, we have Bixby, I think also TalkBack. So we have these kind of tools. However, it's also an area that we really need to focus on, not just the private sector players or technology partners, but also from a policy point of view, government also needs to come in to ensure that there's equitable access for actually students who actually are not within the mainstream classrooms. And these are people who are living with disability. But I agree, I think it's a collective responsibility that we need to have as technology players to ensure that we make these tools accessible. Maybe they're not accessible in these markets, but they could be accessible in other markets. So I believe that if that collective responsibility can actually be shared across both public and private sector, then I think we can be able to actually ensure the people living with disability are actually also taken care of and not left out.
Yeah, which is very important. Anthony, what does this mean for the larger economy? When you look at the digital classroom, we're talking a lot about AI. From a public policy, public interest standpoint, if you were to speak to the key players, what would you tell them?
I think times are changing, Julian, and the more we start accepting that we need to skill our learners to prepare them to prepare them to navigate the AI and tech world, the better. We are living in a time where innovation is very key. So we need to start preparing our learners. AI is going to be big. It's big. So we need to start ensuring that we're able to foster critical thinking within our children. We need to ensure that they have the right AI skills and they know how to use AI. We also need to ensure that they're able to adapt out there. The other thing that we also need to look at is ensure that we change our systems in terms of how do we test them. We need to move away from memory testing into project-based testing and ensure that the students are able actually to, to work within groups to foster collaboration. The other area that I will probably look at is human-centric strengths, where we are able to actually train our students to actually ask deep questions so that they can actually move away from fixed answers. Okay, so I think this is how I would look at it, and I think there's a very big opportunity for the students to actually monetize, and if they're using AI and innovating with AI, there's a very big opportunity for us to grow and also to be very competitive in the global space.
How would you respond, Anthony, to those who say that this potential over-reliance on AI could decelerate our critical thinking and just create zombies because we are no longer built for the hard environment? You know, the one we went through.
Yes. Yes and no. I think it's not, because I think, AI is broad. So I think it depends with how you want AI to work. If we are looking at AI working in terms of solving problems, then I believe we were actually growing and we are going to actually meet economic growth. I'll give you an example. AI is being used within hospitals. Right now, Kenya is a big medical hub, okay? And there's a lot of medical tourism happening. So you'll find doctors who actually want to monitor their patients away in Ethiopia or in Uganda, okay? So it is actually, for me, it's a plus. The question is, how do we use and utilize AI ethically, okay, to ensure that it solves problems? So if I'm able to monitor a patient in the morning before I take anything, I'm able to take my body composition through a Galaxy wearable. Yeah. Then the doctor
already has a brief.
He has a brief in the morning. So I think he's able to see beyond the clinic door. How's my patient doing? So I know a lot of these teams are actually grappling with actually how is my patient doing out there? And there's that problem because they're using smart skills, and the smart skills cannot be carried along. So there's a very big potential and case for AI. As long as it works and solves problems, I think it is a good thing to have.
Is there a place for AI, and now that you're talking about the digital classroom, in revolutionizing and potentially overhauling how we do our exam assessments? If there's one thing which has barely changed over decades, is how we do our exam assessments. Do you see any potential there?
A lot of potential. I think the age for digital examination is here with us. And of course, having proctoring solutions where you're not able to cheat.
Yes.
I know traditionally we've been known to write, but I think we are moving towards, and we have actually use cases that Samsung actually has delivered in Asia, where people actually have actually changed completely the way they actually do the exams. So we are able to actually provide digital exams through the tablets with our Knox is able to actually ensure that the tablet is prepared for the right environment to actually undertake an examination. So that is an area that is big, and I'm sure probably in future we'll start these conversations and we see how we can actually be able to drive them and start actually having digital exams, because you also want to see your score.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Real time.
Yeah, real time. So I think that is the direction we need to move. And I know for a fact, if this happens, we'll have people actually think of building examination centers to actually accommodate different groups of people. It could be school of government. It could be, any other, center that can actually have this kind of centers in place where this can actually be shared infrastructure.
Tell me something, Anthony. We have a huge digital divide in this country, and that's the reality. When you talk about the digital classroom, someone would be thinking and wondering, is there a place for offline solutions? Because if we are looking at the far-flung areas in the remote parts of this country and many others, how can they still be able to benefit from the kind of solutions you have?
Again, I think I'll go back to the ecosystem play, because I think that is where we have partners who also have offline solutions that provide the content required, content that is also KICD approved. I know of partners who actually have this kind of solutions, and I think it's a good thing that we can also partner with them, where we provide the technology stack. They also provide that bit. Also, partners who are able to provide solar systems, okay, to ensure that all people who actually don't have access to certain amenities are able to actually, benefit from the Samsung Digital Classroom. So I believe partnerships is what would really help us from government side and also from private sector side. So yes, those solutions are there, and those solutions will help, bridge that gap and ensure that no one is left out, whether in the rural area or whether in the urban area.
Anthony, anytime we have a conversation about the tech advancement, the digital landscape, the question of data and privacy comes front and center. What assurance can you give parents out there that as we talk about the digital classroom, Samsung does ensure that all the boxes that require to be ticked are ticked and that this is respected?
Okay, fine. Thank you very much. So first and foremost, I'd like to tell the parents that our devices, all our devices come with what we call Knox security, which is government-grade security from chip up all the way to the hardware. As well, our Knox suite of solutions actually also comes with controls. So from a governance point of view and security point of view, we are able and we are actually compliant from a data privacy point of view. The solution is compliant. And the solution is actually able to help schools manage their environment securely. in terms of ensuring that the child is well secured and safe learning is being promoted, and that particular device does not fall in the wrong hands. And if it falls in the wrong hands or if it's lost, we can actually track the location, and we can also send a message that if you get this device, kindly send it back to our school. However, we can also lock that device completely and render it a brick.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have put in place mechanisms, and we have a robust solution to assist answer the question of data privacy. What happens when my data is in the wrong hands? So we have a solution to assist that.
I see.
To look into that. Yeah.
Anthony, what next for the digital classroom? Here we are already exploring how do we scale it. What are some of the key priorities that would shape your mind as you think about this journey in the next 5-10 years?
I think for me, it's not about how many classrooms we've connected, but rather what is the outcome of this ecosystem. Where do you want to be? Because I would look at where we skill the students, we're able to skill them to a level where they're actually employable. Okay, for us, I think the opportunity will be enabling a national ecosystem that is able to actually take learning to the next level. That is able to actually talk to the employers, and we are able to actually ensure that the students are skilled to a level that they are able to meet the industry demands, and also they are able to actually show practical evidence that they are capable to actually meet any industry demands.
I see. Maybe a quick piggyback to that question is, if we asked you, Anthony, what really defines a truly digital classroom?
Okay.
Because there are many classrooms which have the infrastructure, the devices, but you can't really say they are digital.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so for me, a digital classroom is first and foremost from a Samsung point of view. We are looking at an ecosystem lock-in where we have the tablets, where we have the hardware, and we have NOCs. So for this particular argument, I will just say NOCs for schools, where we are able to actually ensure that we have a situation where we are able to manage the devices. The teacher should not be able to actually be in a position or be helpless to actually control the class. So we have to provide that safe environment. But over and above, we also are looking at other players, government, of course, very important from a policy point of view, and also from a reach point of view, and also other players who are coming on board to provide value in terms of embedded language, embedded books, provide connectivity. I think for me that is what constitutes a Samsung digital classroom ecosystem.
I see. Anthony, my father is a teacher by training, and if he's listening to this conversation, I'm sure one of the key things in his mind is, will there be a trade-off between overload and efficiency? In the sense that if I have to start thinking about how do I ensure this entire digital infrastructure is working, because the teachers are already struggling with the teacher-student ratio. Please comment on that question of overload versus efficiency.
The way I look at it is, I think technology should enable us. I should be able actually to even do remote learning, okay? Or even deliver remote classrooms or teaching. So we should actually look at technology as an enabler. So today I can be able to take a French class, but I don't need the faculty, okay? The school does not need the faculty. They do not need to make any investment with the faculty. They just need the board, they need the tablets, student tablets, and they can be able to deliver a session. Yeah, so this is enabled by technology. So when I look at the overload, the student ratio, I believe technology can assist us in a very big way for the teachers to ensure that they are able to actually have their, some of the burden lifted so that they can be able to actually, use these tools to actually be more effective in terms of teaching. I think that's how I look at it.
Yeah. Our time is out, Anthony. What's your parting shot?
My parting shot? I would urge schools, I would also urge, government is already big on digital literacy. I think this is a time when we need to support our learners to ensure that they get the right skills and prepare them for the future. There's a lot of opportunity both within the borders and out. And I believe with the right skills, even a language, for example, these students can actually have something, to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been having a conversation with Samsung's Anthony Nje here, who he heads up the B2B section, focusing on the digital classroom. And why is this important? Is because AI is revolutionizing how we engage across the entire spectrum. And today we have been focusing on how it can change the education landscape in Kenya, in East Africa, and across the continent. And some of the efficiencies that we can use it to unlock when it comes to sort of the infrastructure challenges we are facing, the teacher-student ratio as well, and how we can enable us to put out better human capital for the sake of this economy. So keep it Business Redefined.